अच्छा स्टूडेंट्स, कोई और क्वेश्चंस इस पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट के हवाले से जो अभी तक आपने चीज़ें पढ़ी हैं उनमें से कोई ऐसी चीज़ जिसके बारे में आपको समझ ना आई हो, या कोई और ऐसा क्वेश्चन जो आपके माइंड में हो?
सर एक बात सर
जी
सर
प्लीज।
सीवी और रिज्यूम में फर्क सर एक बार बता दें।
Sure. CV is a lot more detailed than resume. Resume is mostly of consists of only one page. It is a brief summary of your CV. CV means curriculum vitae, means your curricular life, your educational life, your academic experience, and all that. So when you see a particular advertisement and you want to actually send a resume with a cover letter, so you actually convert your CV according to the needs and demands in the advertisement into a particular one page resume. ये जरूरी नहीं कि resume सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक पेज का ही, दो पेज का भी हो सकता है, लेकिन डिपेंडिंग कि आपके पास डिटेल कितनी है। तो सीवी आपका बहुत एक्सटेंसिव डॉक्यूमेंट होता है, वो 15-20 पेजेस का भी हो सकता है, बहुत लेंथी सीवी भी हो सकता है। तो उसमें से आप अपनी रेलेवेंट इंफॉर्मेशन निकाल के रिज्यूमे कंस्ट्रक्ट करते हैं, और दोनों के पार्ट्स जो हैं वो सेम होते हैं, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द काइंड ऑफ एडवर्टाइजमेंट जिसको आप फोकस कर रहे हैं। आप अपने हेडर में डिटेल्स देते हैं, अपनी पर्सनल डिटेल्स। उसके बाद पहले अगर आपका एक्सपीरियंस ज़्यादा, एक्सपीरियंस को लिखेंगे। अगर आपकी एजुकेशन सबसे ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस काम है तो फिर पहले एजुकेशन लिखेंगे, बाद में एक्सपीरियंस लिखेंगे। उसके बाद आपके जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, आपकी कुछ रिसर्च है। उसके बाद जो आपकी ऐसी स्किल्स हैं जो कि कंप्यूटर स्किल्स हो सकती हैं, आपकी पर्सनल सॉफ्ट स्किल्स हो सकती हैं जो रिलेट करती हैं उस एडवर्टाइज्ड जॉब से, उनके बारे में लिखेंगे। उसके बाद कोई रेफरेंसेस हैं आपके, वो प्रोवाइड करेंगे। ठीक है, तो रिज्यूमे इज अ शॉर्टर वर्जन वेयर एज सीवी इज अ लॉन्गर वर्जन, बट बोथ कैन बी सेंट। यूजुअली ये होता है कि एम्प्लॉयर के पास शॉर्ट लिस्टिंग के लिए इतना टाइम नहीं होता कि वो थोरो सीवी जो है उसको स्कैन करे। तो अगर एडवर्टीजमेंट में लिखा है कि आप सीवी सेंड करें तो आप सीवी सेंड करें, बट अगर लिखा है कि रिज्यूमे सेंड करें तो सेंड द रिज्यूमे, बट ऑलवेज यूज कवर लेटर विद द रिज्यूमे। ऑलराइट,
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
and also we always adapt the cover letter, we change it according to the advertisement. For every other job we will have a new cover letter, because when we talk about cover letter we try to make it personalized. We send it to the HR manager of that particular organization and tell them that how we fit in that vacancy.
ओके सर।
So I hope this is clear.
यस सर, थैंक यू।
सर हमने 3 चीजें बनानी थी या 2, रिज्यूमे एंड कवर लेटर और सीवी भी बनानी थी, ये बता दो।
I never asked for CV. I asked for resume, cover letter, and then you had to email these two.
ओके सर।
ठीक है? All right, so हाँ जी।
सर अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर,
वाह।
मैं ये पूछना था कि ईमेल भी करना है और एलएमएस पे अपलोड भी करना है, दोनों काम करने हैं ना?
जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। ईमेल इज अ पार्ट
ये
ऑफ द असाइनमेंट कि आपकी जो ईमेल राइटिंग है वो भी असेस की जाए, क्योंकि आपको ईमेल के बारे में भी थोड़ा बहुत बात बताया तो है ना। और दूसरा
जी
ये एलएमएस पे इसलिए अपलोड करते हैं क्योंकि सारा का सारा हमारा जो वर्किंग है वो ऑनलाइन लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम पे है, तो रिकॉर्ड कीपिंग वहीं पे होगी। आज का जो टॉपिक है दैट इज अबाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड प्लानिंग रिपोर्ट्स एंड प्रपोजल्स. Now this is the last section of this course which is related to report writing, and particularly your academic report writing. Or there are also progress reports that are professional reports. I will give you a brief intro of those reports as well. But mostly we will be talking about short and long reports in academic as well as professional contexts. So let's start with this, and let's find out what is report writing and how to prepare reports and proposals. So why we write these reports and proposals? There are a lot of objectives, but sometimes we have to monitor and control operations, that we are head of some kind of activity. Maybe we are leading a team of people and we have to show the progress of that team. And we also have to evaluate the progress and show that where we can improve different parts of the work. So in that particular case, we have to prepare a particular report, a specific proposal maybe for implementation of new ideas. And the second objective is implementation of policies and procedures. And if you want to implement a new idea, a new set of policies, standards of procedures that are called SOPs. So what is the best way to go through? Because it is not easy to implement something abruptly without actually planning for uh, the implementation. When we implement something, there is always some kind of change management, and you have to look after the consequences. So it is important then that the idea which you are portraying should be on paper, and there should be uh, immense amount of analysis involved in writing that report and actually preparing that proposal, so it can convince the management of that particular organization that this idea should be implemented. For example, if you're working in a hospital and you understand the COVID-19 has changed life thoroughly, so we should also change the way people interact in hospital, the way people actually sit in the waiting room, and the way they actually go to laboratories. So changing that particular interaction, you will have to have a planning behind that, and that planning needs to be analyzed in a proper format, and that analysis should be portrayed on the piece of paper, so you can actually communicate that to authorities, administrative authorities, so they can look into it and they can approve. So proposals are also written for implementation of policies that are prospective policies of your organization. Then you have to comply with government regulations. For example, these days you see that every other organization, even if it is a small shop, they have to employ certain regulations which are given by the government, because in the wake of COVID-19, it is very important that we take precautionary measures. So are you taking those precautionary measures or not? You might have to write a report, an evaluation report, showing that what action have been taken from you in response to the regulations given by the government. And that report can be submitted to the relevant authority or organizational institution, government institution, where you actually want to show them, right? So then again, you might publish some results. For example, you want to write the proposal for your research project. Towards the end of your degree, you will be involved in a research project. You will be asked to write research proposal where you will actually write down a particular idea, a gap in the research which you will work on, and then you will produce certain results, and you can write a research proposal, and then later on you will write a dissertation on that. So that would be a part of your curriculum. And then if you want to guide about decisions, if you want to show people that what decisions were made in a particular meeting or in a set of meetings and what was the final result. For example, if you go online and you search for the curriculum frameworks in Pakistan, a lot of teaching curriculum frameworks are available. There were high level meetings about the way we should teach in universities and colleges, and they were published in the form of reports. So reports are also published for decisions that are made in certain levels. Then gain acceptance by others. So later on, after this degree, if you want to go to a Western country or maybe a developed country for your MS or PhD in a particular area, what will happen that you will search for a supervisor, a research supervisor, because in major universities, most of the supervisors, they have grants with them. So they can employ different scholars, different graduates with them, and they can provide those grants as a scholarship to these students. So in order to convince that particular researcher, that scholar, that you are going to work with him or her, you will have to write a proposal. And also with proposal, you write personal statement. So you have a research proposal that shows that what area you will be working on, plus you have your personal statement. And personal statement by the name shows that it is a statement that shows your personal interest in the area, how you have worked over the years on this particular area, and what are the different aims and objectives that you like to pursue for this area of research. So these are different objectives for which you can actually write reports and proposals. Okay, moving forward, We can classify reports according to their sources, that who actually published them, according to the frequency, that how often they are published. For example, research journals. Research journals, for every year, they have an issue. For example, they say that year 2018 had issue 2018 and 2019 will have issue 2019. And in every issue, you have volumes. There is volume 1 and there is volume 2 and so on. So if a research journal is published every month, there will be 12 volumes in the issue of a research journal. So frequency shows that how many volumes are being published per year. Same with any other journal, any other magazine, all right, and research articles, that what is the frequency of publication for these reports. And then audience, what is the audience? Remember, research is not written for everybody. Research is not for common people. You don't see research papers being published in newspaper every day. Why? Because they're focused on research community. They're focused on academia. Students, teachers, researchers, lab technicians, they actually read research reports. They actually read research papers. So if you talk about research journals, they are totally, for example, PubMed. If you go online and find out what is PubMed, and then you search a few research articles from PubMed, you download them. If you cannot download, you can always contact me. I will help you download those research articles. You will see that these articles are very intense kind of research work, and they include information which is not understandable or comprehensible for common people. Okay, so that is basically for academia. But when we talk about magazines and for example, you can see dietary medicine magazines, then you see herbal medicine magazines, then you see exercise magazines. So these magazines, they are for common people. Everybody can read them. So the language is very pretty different from that kind of language which is used in the research documents. And length, again, if you're writing to actually communicate in a very brief form, and you are only asked about only a specific section of the report, you have to write a very short report. And short reports, usually they start from 1 page or 2 page, and they go up to 10 to 15 pages. So that is the length of short reports. But when we talk about long reports, they are anything above 15 pages, and they go up to hundreds of pages depending upon the kind of report you're writing. Let me give you a couple of examples. A short report, for example, you have been involved as an internee doctor in a hospital, and you have been asked to write a report about the patients that you have observed, about their prognosis. So the report that you will make would be patient-wise. And if you have seen 10 patients in a week, you will write a report about 10 patients and the medication that is being provided to them. And it will be a short report. You will put small tables of your observations for each patient, and it will not exceed more than 10 pages. And it will have an executive summary and maybe some references if you want to refer it to research work. And then it will have a title that will show that you have prepared the report. But what about a long report? When you have to write a long report, for example, you are a good doctor and you are being involved in a research, what can be called RCT, which is a random controlled trial. The doctor is asking you to become a part of their random controlled trial where they are actually examining the result of a particular medicine on patients. So they ask you to become a part of the team, and you become the part of a team, and then you're asked to write a very extensive research report on that medicine. What are the components of the medicine? How different components produce different reactions? What particular combinations have been used in actually curing the patients? Was there any placebo involved? If there was a placebo involved, then how control group was defined, how experiment group was defined, what statistical techniques were used. All these things will be included in that report, and that will be a very extensive report, and it will have a lot of references. It will have a lot of cross referencing into different sections. It will have a lot of tables and figures. Of course, it will have an executive summary or an abstract. Then it will have a list of abbreviations. It will also have a list of figures and tables. It will also have some appendices. Appendices mean something which is additional information which is not the integral part of the report, but in order to understand the content of the report, you have to attach to the appendices at the end of the report. So we can also classify reports according to the intent, that what is the intention that you're using while making that report. Again, it depends. If you're preparing that report in order to simply summarize a few things, this is a short report, and that needs to be communicated very early, quickly, promptly. But if you have a lot of time, you want to go thoroughly, and if you want to extensively produce information and then organize it in a very particular manner, then you can go for a longer report and longer proposal. So we can also have informational reports. As we said that we have to monitor or evaluate certain operations, and we have to define policies, and we have to comply with government regulations. Then we have to document the progress of certain projects. All these reports, they include information, right? So we organize information in a form that actually help the reader or the government institution to understand that what efforts are being put by us and how those efforts are resulting into better consequences. Then analytical reports are there that include business proposals and problem solving reports. And when we talk about problem solving reports, of course medical reports can be a part of it, because you're mostly helping to actually introduce a cure, or maybe you're improving a medicine, or maybe you're helping to redefine the patterns through which the medicines are manufactured, or maybe they're given to patients. So you're particularly focusing on a single problem and then identifying the solutions and showing which alternative is the better one. So troubleshooting reports, for example, if there was a problem and you solve that problem, how you solved it, you summarize that in troubleshooting. And then feasibility reports. What if you want to implement a new idea? You have a plan and you want to implement that. In order to show that that plan will work, you have to show a feasibility report. What is the feasibility that the idea or the creativity that you're showing will actually work? So you put that on paper. So you show that you show the introduction. You have a particular introduction of that idea. Then you show that what is the plan that you're being introduced here. And later on, you show that what will be the consequences of that plan. And then there are justification reports. So these are proactive reports that you show before something happens, that what will happen if you implement this. But justification reports are reactive reports. They show that this particular thing has happened and why this happened, why this happened in this particular way. So uske liye wo aap likhte hain. Writing proposal. Now the very important part is what is a proposal and what are different types of proposals. There can be business proposals, there can be academic research proposals. Since you're students of pharmacy, so you would be writing research proposals and proposals about different kind of medicines, different kind of reactions, different kind of prognosis, and these kind of things can be a part of your research work. And later on, even if you write an assignment, that assignment is doing a secondary research. Let me tell you what is a secondary research. You are doing an assignment on a topic. Research. Okay. So you're doing an assignment on a topic, and what you're mostly concerned about is that what has happened in research, what has been done by other researchers and other academicians in this area, in this topic on which I am preparing this assignment. So when we talk about assignments, this is a part of secondary research, where you are actually referring to the previous work done by other researchers, right? So it is important to understand that. It is very important to understand that what kind of work is done by other people, and then you summarize that work in your assignment. So most of the students, when they prepare assignment, all they do is they copy paste. They copy ideas from a source and they paste them in a report, and then they submit the report. This is not a correct way. The correct way is that you have to paraphrase. Paraphrase means that at least you write that idea into your own words, and then you cite a reference. Cite a reference. Cite a reference means that the idea is not yours. The idea is given by Mark. So you should show that Mark actually provided this idea in 2011. This is not your idea. So when you write an assignment, you should always reference ideas where you pick them up. And also paraphrase, write them in your own words. And paraphrasing is the very basic level of understanding of ideas. The next level is to evaluate information. Evaluation means that you compare and contrast the information with other sources. Okay, Mark has said this. What about Sonder? Sonder may have a different opinion on this, which he actually published in 2013. So you actually go through information, you write that information in your own words, and finally you actually produce that information in research format. So assignments are small research work. They are not that extensive. But when we talk about proposals, they are the proposal of a bigger project, a bigger research work. So they can be internal, that they are within an organization, or maybe you have something which is very important and you want to write it to the World Health Organization. So you can send an external proposal. If you send a proposal to the World Health Organization, that would be an external proposal. And then it can be solicited, that it has particular format upon which you are actually writing it, or unsolicited, that you are making your own format. Now, what are different parts of proposal? There is always an introduction, that what is the problem that you're working on, and you show a problem statement in the introduction. You also write the objectives of the proposal in the introduction. Then you have review of literature, which shows that how much work is already done on this problem and who did that work. So write a kind of assignment for that. Analyze all previous work, paraphrase it, evaluate it in the literature review. And then there is a methodology section, that what methods will you use actually to actually do that research or conduct that project. Okay, and how you will show your progress, and what would be the timeline. And then you have different references that you have used, and this is called bibliography. Bibliography is a complete list of references. I will show you an example of all these, so don't worry. So references is bibliography, and then you have appendices. Okay, so this is the list of all the elements in a proposal. So again, you will use the same writing process, that you will plan first, that what should be included and what should not be included. Then you will write and you will revise it and complete it. Revising means you edit, you do the formatting of the document. And sometimes I see assignments coming from students where they don't even change the format. They don't even bother to change the font size. And if they copy from Wikipedia, you see certain blue color links given in the Wikipedia, and they still exist when they submit the assignment. They don't even bother to actually cut them off. So these things happen when you actually don't properly manage, the work. So as I told you that analysis, investigation, and adaptation can be a part of your research proposals and reports. So of course, this can be informational and this can be analytical. Informational is particularly descriptive. You only describe information, whereas in analytical reports, you actually evaluate information, that what was the problem and how we actually catered for this problem. So while we define the problem, we have to determine what are the needs. What is the basic issue which is important here? And what is the context or the situation or environment in which we are basically looking at after this situation? So initially, COVID-19 was only seen in Wuhan. So it was a local situation, it was a local environment, and it was seen in Wuhan. But later on, the situation was emerged as globally. So now it is a global phenomenon, and global health workers are working on it. And then what is the troubled location? What is the main trouble in this particular problem, and how different solutions can be proposed to solve it? And where did the situation emerged? What was the origin of the situation, and how can we actually benefit from these and understand that how can we solve the problem. And when did it start? Of course, from there we can start, and onward we can work on. So purpose statement is the statement which actually shows that why you are writing a particular report. So if this is an analytical report, so you show the purpose through what analysis you are using, why we will evaluate this, what are the things that we will recommend at the end of the report, and what would be the suggestions that we try to produce in the report. And if it is an informational report, then we will see that what to summarize, what to be explained, and how we will be submitting this report in the informational format. Okay, so these are the outlines that can be used for descriptive and informational, since they belong to business reports, so you don't have to bother with them. But again, I told you the list of items that should be a part of a proposal. So make sure when you're writing these reports and proposals, you see that you have stated the problem explicitly, that it is a part of your, you can even give it a heading, the research problem. Okay, and then under that research problem heading, you write the problem in an explicit statement. Then state the purpose and scope of your report. Always show the list of tasks that you are going to accomplish, and what is the outcome of the report, and how much time would be required to actually work on that particular idea that you're working on. If this is a research, how much time the research will take, and what are your follow-up plans, what should be done after this proposal. If the proposal is accepted, what will be done after that. Of course, you will say that this methodology will be used, and you will work in the lab to produce observations and then statistically analyze them and produce results, and then compose a working outline, show the outline of the future work. Okay, so there is also an important section which we're going to cover in a very practical form in the next session, which will be about searching databases. I will show you that how to actually search research papers and research reports, how to actually search online proposals and personal statements, and then how to analyze those different sections included in these documents, how to use different search engines, how can we use keywords, and how can they be written in different formats, and how can we refine the searches that we do and come up with results and outcomes that can help us a lot better than. So there are a lot of primary sources of information. Documents are there by other publishers. These documents also exist in library in the form of thesis and other reports. Then you have observations published by other companies. Then you have experiments conducted and their reports, surveys conducted by people, interviews conducted by experts. These can be available on YouTube or other medium. So all of these can be, sources of information. Now, this is very important. Plagiarism. What is plagiarism? The idea of plagiarism is that you copy something and you paste it in your document as it is. You don't paraphrase it. You don't refer from where you actually acquired the information, and you don't show that why this information was important, and you simply put it there in your document. So later on, your teachers and the researchers to whom you're sending your proposals, they put it in a scanning website, usually Turnitin. So when they put it in that website, the area is highlighted where you actually copy pasted. So this is called plagiarism. And in international universities, you are given a C grade, which is a failing grade, if you show plagiarism in your report. Even in Abbasini University, if you have more than 15% plagiarism in your reports, the reports are not acceptable, and there is zero tolerance policy about plagiarism. So make sure whenever you acquire information from one source, you rewrite it in your own words, the way you are inspired from the information. So whenever you use copyrighted material, you use quotations, you paraphrase, be very critical, very adequately using this information. So we do not talk about general knowledge, because general knowledge is not something scientific. So you have to only refer to the scientific documents. So your interpretation should be also cross-referred with other findings by other people. So you recommend things. So this is a part of your report writing process, that you write different kind of reports and different sections are there. Of course, in the next lecture, we will explore further that what are the different sections and how to search for these things. Okay, guys. Now, if you have any question, you may ask. We have only 3 minutes left, so we can benefit of that time. Students के question है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं.
सर ये जो रिपोर्ट्स लिखते हैं ये लंबी शॉर्ट भी लिख सकते हैं या लॉन्ग ही लिखनी पड़ती है?
मैंने अभी बताया ना कि पर्पस क्या है. अगर तो उसका पर्पस है ना कि आपने सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये बताना है कि ये एक प्रॉब्लम था और अगले 10 दिनों तक हमने इस पे क्या काम किया और प्रोग्रेस रिपोर्ट देनी है, तो वो एक शॉर्ट रिपोर्ट होगी. आपने ब्रीफली बताना है. अगर आपने एक रिसर्च रिपोर्ट लिखनी है, एक रिसर्च डिसर्टेशन लिखनी है, एक थीसिस लिखना है, या फिर आपसे मांगा जा रहा है कि एक फिजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट बनाएं, तो ऐसी रिपोर्ट्स वो होती हैं जो लॉन्ग रिपोर्ट्स होती हैं, एक्सटेंसिव रिपोर्ट्स होती हैं. सो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द पर्पस ऑफ द रिपोर्ट, शॉर्ट रिपोर्ट भी लिखी जा सकती है, लॉन्ग रिपोर्ट भी लिखी जा सकती है. मोस्टली जो रिपोर्ट लिखवाने वाला होता है वो आपको बताता है कि इसकी लेंथ क्या होनी चाहिए. अगर आप इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटीज में कल को एमएस के लिए अप्लाई करेंगे तो वहाँ पे लिखा होगा कि आपका रिसर्च प्रपोजल जो है वो 2500 वर्ड्स का होना चाहिए. तो 2500 वर्ड्स जो हैं वो एक शॉर्ट रिपोर्ट के लिए यूज होते हैं. 25,000 वर्ड्स जो हैं वो थीसिस के लिए यूज होते हैं. वो एक लॉन्ग रिपोर्ट होती है.
श्योर सही.
ठीक है. और अक्सर सोर्सेज जो होते हैं वहाँ पे ये भी मेंशन होता है कि आपके प्रपोजल में या आपकी रिपोर्ट में कौन कौन से सेक्शंस होने चाहिए. वो सारे सेक्शंस गिवन होते हैं आपको. इवन अब्बासीन यूनिवर्सिटी में जब आप फाइनल ईयर में आप अपनी रिपोर्ट्स बनाएंगे और सबमिट करेंगे, उनमें आप देखेंगे कि आपका डिपार्टमेंट आपको एक सैम्पल रिपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करेगा. नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं आपको एक सैम्पल प्रपोजल शो करूंगा, लेकिन आप जब तक अपने फाइनल ईयर में पहुंचेंगे हो सकता है उसमें कुछ चेंजेस आए, तो आप अपने डिपार्टमेंट से रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि वो आपको दिया जाए ताकि उसी के अकॉर्डिंगली आप काम करें.
सही है सर.
And I have more than 50 students in this class, but only 25 people are participating in this. So what I'm going to do is next time I will have class participation, and that will be graded class participation. I will assign marks for people who come to the class and they actually participate in the class. I want this session to be interactive. So next time अगर बाकी students तो group में please GR आप announce कर दें कि kindly अटेंडेंस आपकी होनी चाहिए यहाँ पे और पार्टिसिपेट करें इस सेशन में, बिकॉज इसमें हम जितना ज़्यादा फ़ायदा उठा सकते हैं इस इंटरेक्टिव सेशन से वो आपके लिए बेनिफिशियल होगा. ऑलराइट, सो आई विल शेयर द स्लाइड्स विद यू.
Okay, sir.
During the week I will keep sharing a few links with you because I want to show you how to refer to different sources. सोर्सेज की रेफरेंसिंग कैसे करते हैं, रेफरेंसिंग सॉफ्टवेयर को कैसे इस्तेमाल करते हैं. तो ये जो चीज़ें मैंने आपको बतानी है वो ड्यूरिंग द वीक में आपसे शेयर करता जाऊँगा. फिर नेक्स्ट जो हमारा सेशन होगा इंशाल्लाह ऑन थर्सडे, तो थर्सडे को हम जो चीज़ें आपके माइंड में होंगी उनको फिर क्वेश्चंस को हम आंसर करते जाएंगे. ऑलराइट जी.
ओके सर.
ओके, सो थैंक यू गाइस, बेस्ट ऑफ लक, टेक केयर, अल्लाह हाफिज.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
Allah Hafiz.